Hey, what's up, guys? Ken here from the Retro Escapades channel in Malaysia. Today, in the review spotlight, we've got the human battering ram, the MOTU Origins Deluxe Ramen. Now, previously in the vintage line, Ramen was notorious for being awarded the distinction of being the worst, or perhaps the most disappointing MOTU action figure ever made. But this new upgraded version looks pretty awesome. I never thought I'd use the word awesome to describe Ramen, but there you have it, you know. Now, I hate the thought of having to open up this gorgeous deluxe packaging card, but we've got a review to do, so let's get to it. On the back of the card, and we see that there's a generous 3 panels of instructional art that has been provided to show you just how Ramen's spring-loaded attack gimmick works. And you know what, if you had the original, you might notice that the function seems to work a little bit differently this time. But hey, we'll get into that later, okay, once we've busted Ramen out of this card. As usual, the packaging also treats us to some amazing artwork here. Ramen versus the Roton, which is Skeletor's flying chariot. Now, I've not seen any announcements that the Roton will be coming out in the Origins line, but hey guys, let's face it, they're definitely gonna do it. Now, Faker here, we know that he's coming out too at some point, and that's wonderful because I've never actually owned any versions of Faker in my vintage collection. I did find a lot of listings for the guy on eBay, loose listings, over the years. But if you remember, Faker comes with this chest sticker that proves he's a mechanical fake. And the chest sticker would always be missing in these lots. Okay, so back to Ramen. And the deal with Ramen is that I could never really figure out if he was a normal guy with super strength and a really, really hard head, or if he was a half cybernetic humanoid with actual spring-loaded legs that allowed him to launch really far and really hard at the enemy. I mean, having spring-loaded legs, that's not too unusual, right? Masters of the Universe is filled with characters that have all sorts of weird design quirks. And some of them even have spinning tops on their lower bodies instead of legs. So I think that spring-loaded legs is pretty acceptable. But which one is he? Okay, is he a half cybernetic humanoid, or is he just a normal super strong guy? Now, I went back to the mini comics to see if there were any clues. The first appearance of Ramen portrays him as a normal gladiator type warrior with maybe some insecurity issues and who likes to pick a fight without thinking ahead. Now, the weird thing is, in the comic that introduces him, Ramen looks to be tall, okay, almost as tall as He-Man, but in the actual toy, he's short and stumpy. Yeah, it doesn't help also that there's a constant stereotype that Ramen is just dumb. Okay, maybe it's because he keeps knocking his head into things and people get the impression that he maybe suffers from brain damage or something like that. But yeah, honestly, if you read this mini comic and you saw his first appearance and how the artist portrayed him, you might think that he was like a Russell Crowe in Gladiator. But meanwhile, check out this treacherous scene from one of the original mini comics. Okay, so He-Man, Teela, and Ramen are enjoying a day of relaxation in the forest. Ramen is being a good and thoughtful friend by leaving He-Man and Teela alone so that they can have some time to themselves to, And as he walks away, Teela says, "He's so innocent, He-Man. I like him." But then He-Man, possibly filled with some jealousy at this remark, decides to block any chance Ramen has with Teela by saying, "A bit slow in thought, but I like him too." Now, I gotta say that, honestly, that was a total block move. I mean, would a real friend do that? Okay, checking out Ramen out of the package. On first impressions, you might be forgiven for thinking that he's bigger than the original vintage Ramen, but I was surprised too to find out that they're actually the same size. The illusion is probably caused by the fact that the new figure is just so much better looking. Now, taking a close up look, I like how they added so much more characterization to his face. Just look at those narrowed eyebrows, those steely eyes, just an overall angry and grumpy look, just ready to bust and break into something. Now, they kept all the original design cues. You see the chains on his shoulders and the large metal pads. Um, you get the skull emblem on the belt buckle. Very cool. The belt is now black compared to the original, which was silver. They've now given him silver painted wrist gauntlets. The original just used silver fall stickers, which was just a really bad and cheap idea because there's no way that those would stand up to repeated play. And all the way down to those green pants and those huge black boots. They added some dents and battle damage to his helmet this time around. Great touch. The original didn't have this. And it makes sense because all that hit ramming is sure to cause some damage. Okay, I mean, unless he's got a magic helmet with healing properties. I love that the designers went the extra mile to have this here. Sculpt wise, I have no doubt that this is probably the best vintage styled Ramen to date. Okay, articulation. Now you can rotate the head around, and the head is actually able to be popped out. That's great. Now the head movement is somewhat hindered by the helmet design, as you can see, but you can still achieve some pretty cool poses. Yeah, you looking at me? You looking at me, punk? Now the shoulders are on a ball joint, great, and this articulation at the wrists and also the arms, and you can pop the shoulders off. Okay, if you want to be replaced with somebody like maybe like with Trapjaw's arm. And there's no articulation at the waist or the legs because of the spring-loaded action gimmick, but surprisingly there's knee articulation. Yeah, now, I wonder at first why the knees needed to be articulated, but I didn't realize that you could have imposed with the knees bent in a flying ramming motion if you wanted to. Yeah, this is really cool. Look at that. Yeah. Whoa, easy there, Ramen. Easy there. Easy there, buddy. Right, the accessories. Now we get a whole bunch, and these are so good. First off, we get the single-bladed axe, the same design that the original came with. Then we get the double-bladed axe for maximum killing accuracy. Yeah, look at that. Now, I realized I actually had him posed with the spare gripping hand, but this would be the fist hand that he comes packed with on card. And now finally, we get this amazing alternate head with even more shielding for the helmet. Look at this guy. He kind of reminds me of the Shredder. Actually, you know what? Having the mouth area protected is a good idea since he's using his head to ram things all the time. And you would have shards and splinters of things flying about and possibly cutting his lips. So yeah, the mouth protection is important. And maybe even goggles for the eyes. Hey, what do you guys think? Okay, now it's time to check out the action feature. So what you do is that you press down on the figure to make him even shorter. And then you press it one more time to release the spring. Now what happens is that he kind of bounces about in place. And sometimes he falls down. You see that? Yeah. It's like he's drunk. Or maybe, maybe just jumping for joy, Hooray! I'm perplexed as to why they didn't just replicate the way the action feature on the original worked. Where you could just point Ramen towards something and press a button to have him launch at that thing. You know, the way the action feature works this time, it's just a bit clumsy. Okay, let's try to get him launched at the enemy, the evil Peaceman. Okay, that didn't work. Maybe he needs to be closer. Nope. See what I'm talking about? Okay, you know what? You just have to manually aim him and use your hands to release the springs. Yeah, let's try that. Pow! Now that's a takedown. Now, as promised, here's Origin's Ramen next to his original vintage counterpart. Firstly, you'll notice that they are indeed similar in height. You'll also notice how sad Ramen's eyes look, filled with tragedy and a lifetime of just hitting into things. You know, the face sculpt is actually okay, but the plastic that's used on the body is just horrible, okay? And, you know, it's even more hollow than a shampoo bottle. And he only has 2 points of articulation at the shoulders, and this looks pretty silly. You know, it looks like he's waving a stop sign. Yeah, move along now. Yeah. Actually, you know what? With his color scheme, you could just put a beard on him and Ramen could be Santa Claus. Okay, so the action feature works the same way by pressing him down, you know, so like, yeah, pressing him down like that. And then what you got to do is that you press this button that's located at the back of his right boot, okay, in order to release him right there. See that? Yeah. Okay, it's time for Ramen versus Peaceman. Round 2. So much better. Hey dude, you've leveled up. Well, yes I have, haven't I? I'm now so much better than you. Well, okay then. Ram that. Well, okay guys, so that's the video. You know, I enjoyed making it and I hope that you guys enjoyed watching it. But let me know what you thought about it in the comment section because I want to hear from you guys. And do support me by subscribing to the channel. Thanks everyone. I'll catch all of you again real soon.